All right, all right. Okay. Okay, if you thought Barbie Game Girl was a bad game, then you guys are in for a very rude awakening because this game is very bad, very bad. We're gonna have a lot of time to talk about both the game and the movie as we go here. I will warn you guys. So this is about a 20-ish minute run. It can go wrong with RNG. Of those 20 minutes, 12 of them are auto scrollers. So I hope you guys are ready. And with that, I will just get us started. This is way worse than Dragon's Lair. Okay. So time starts when we take control of Richard. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna start. All right. So this is the Pagemaster. It was released in 1994 alongside the movie. The movie was not. I never watched the movie as a kid, but I watched it as an adult to prepare for a different marathon run, and I did not like it. I'm assuming kids liked it. I'm assuming it was good for kids. So that was the first level. Oh yeah, this is the best palette I could find actually. Of all of the Super Game Boy palettes I could find, this was the best one. Also, this is a pretty late release for the. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're fine. Everything's good. This is a pretty late release for the Game Boy, so it actually has a custom Game Boy border. Unfortunately, I don't get to show it off here. Oh no, this is bad. Okay, we're gonna just do this way. Well, world record's already off the table. Maybe PB? No, not even PB. This is awful. How do I fix this? I think I'm just gonna die. It's gonna be easier. Alright, we'll just start over. You played this the other day, Granite? Oh yeah, this is not a fun game at all. So this is a super. It has a custom Super Game Boy border. We're just gonna do that again. It's totally fine. Should not be an issue. All right, we did it this time, guys. And it has a lot of other like benefit. It has a lot of benefits of a late release. A late release Game Boy game. Like it has really big levels and it has really good animations. So like, if you look at Richard here, he has a lot of different animations and it's all pretty cool. I got hit by So I got hit by that ghost. So let's talk a little bit about. This is the first of 4 auto scrollers in the game. There are 12 required. You have to finish a minimum of 12 levels in this game over 3 worlds, and 4 of them have to be auto scrollers. I routed out the game with the minimal number of levels to play because every level is really long, and this is the best I could do. So I'm not gonna get to show off the best. There's a really good animation that I'm not gonna get to show off because I got hit earlier in the level, but that's okay. So it's a platformer. Oh gosh, I got hit twice now. And I died. All right, cool. This is going real good. It's fine. What are you gonna do? All right, so it is a platformer. There are 3 worlds. The 3 worlds correspond to the 3 book friends that you run into in the movie. So we're currently in the horror world, and then we go to the adventure world, and then we finish in the fantasy world. And every world is basically like it's like a page of an open book. That's what the overworld looks like. And and so you can pick which levels you want to go to, and you have to clear a level to be able to go through it. So the goal is to get to the right side of the page to clear the world. And so that's just basically all we do is we go to the right side of the page. And this is going pretty badly, actually. It's really good. So we just gotta go to the right side of the page. So we are going to play 5 levels. We're gonna play 5 levels in this world, 3 levels in the adventure world, and 4 levels in the fantasy world. Turn the page physically, not so to speak. I will never be able to shake off this game ever. So let's talk about some of the mechanics of the game, so we can get that out of the way, so we can just mess around for the rest of the level, the rest of the game. So every level has a little door you need to find. And so that's what we're trying to do in each level. The non-auto-scrolling levels, what we're going to do is we're going to look for the quickest route to skip 100% of the level, basically. So all the levels that the first two levels that I showed off are both quite huge, but all we do is just skip everything. And then, so we have, let's look at the stuff on the top bar here. So we have, you can see Richard's horrifying face on the left there. That is the number of lives I have. I currently have 2 lives, which is not a ton, but if you complete a world without taking a death, you get a cool bonus stage that gives you a ton of extra lives. So I'm hoping that in the second stage, we will have that. We have that. We have the second little thing in the top border is the library card. So ostensibly, the goal of this game is to recover all 9 library cards to get the good ending of the game, right? Where Richard actually gets out of the book. We're not going to get any of them. Doing a 100% run of the game involves completing at least 5 more levels of the 12, and of those 5 levels, there's at least 3 more auto-scrollers. And we have the keys there. The keys are collectibles. And if you get 30 keys, it gives you 1 book. The books are actually a really important mechanic in this game that I did not know about when I first started running it. Oh, crap. Don't worry about the huge hand, it's fine. And the books, what they do is, if you press select, it consumes a book and kills everything on screen. That is going to be used a lot in the third world, because the third world is very unfun and unfriendly. So we have finished all but 1 level in this world. We can talk about power-ups now. So you see that blue boot. You can see the blue boot on the far left of the screen there. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. So there are 2 levels of upgrades that you can get. Upgrades are always dropped by killed enemies, and the drops are fixed. So if specific enemies will drop power-ups, and no other enemies will. The level 1 power-up is the boot, which is you've seen me have a few times. The boot does 2 things. I'm done with the first world. The boot does 2 things. It gives you an extra tall jump, and it also gives you an extra hit point, which is what you've been seeing, basically. Every time I get hit with the boot, I lose the boot, but then I don't die. If you get hit without any power-ups, you die. And then there are level 2... so now we're on the adventure world. You can skip this level for some reason. I don't know why, so we skip it. So we are now on the adventure world. It's going to be full of pirates mostly. So there are 4 level 2 power-ups. The one that you've seen albeit very briefly, is this guy, the sword power-up. So I now have a sword. So what the level 2 power-ups give me is they give me a second hit point. So if I get hit, then I lose. If I get hit, then I lose the power-up, but I keep the boots. And you also get a secondary attack. So if I hit B now, I now have a melee attack. There are 3 other kinds of upgrades. There are... Oh, also, another thing that power-upped Richard can do is he can wall jump. is very weird. I don't know why he can. The other 3 upgrades are the this guy here, the eye, the magic, the bag of magic. Oh, we didn't actually get to show off the eye. The bag of magic and the glove. The glove is completely useless, not only in the speed run, but also just casually. It's just kind of a piece of crap. Oh my gosh, I might die here. I really don't want to, though. Alright, we're fine. Everything's good. Just gonna wait for them. That little, the little helmet there is just invincibility, is all. So the bag of magic, so the glove, sorry. Sometimes I have to concentrate. So we're on the second auto-scroller here. The bag of magic, the glove lets you climb on any ceiling, regardless of whether it's supposed to be climbable or not. The bag of magic, gives you just a regular projectile. He just kind of throws it straight in front of him. And then the eye gives you, the sword gives you that melee attack. And the eye is the most crazy, bizarre eyeball power-up. It's the best power-up in the game, especially in the third world. But basically, it gives you 4, like, bouncing eyeballs that bounce in front of you and boomerang back. So it's like a weird projectile that kind of just, like, kills everything in your path. And it's really strange, but it's definitely the most useful one. And I basically told you everything you need to know about the game now. Richard kind of has, like, slippery ice physics, so learning how to move around with him is definitely a thing. This guy, so, fun fact, that little, I don't guess, turkey leg or whatever, can hit you from underneath the level. And so there's a lot of silly, unfair things like that. The most unfair thing, I would say, is... So, enemy spawns. So, enemy spawns are completely fixed. So, we know exactly where every enemy is going to spawn in the game. The problem is, their behavior is completely RNG. So, we actually don't know what they're gonna do, or necessarily where they're gonna be, because their movements are RNG and their attack patterns are RNG. So, we can't really predict where enemies are gonna be. And also, they also spawn off screen. So they spawn into the game off screen and if they have a projectile, then they can shoot you from off screen before you can even see them. So that's, I think, the most unfair thing about the game. There's also moving enemies, kind of like you see those mean books. So those enemies can also attack you. Can also swoop in and attack you before you can see them off screen. So that's the biggest problem with the auto-scrolling sections, is that everything in the game moves faster than the screen, including Richard, and, like, moving platforms. So, if you have a moving platform, and you get on it too early, it will scroll to the right side of the screen before the screen itself can scroll far enough right that it will spawn the rest of the next section of the level that you're supposed to land on, and it's really rough. So I've basically told you everything I care to about the game. And usually we have 2 more auto-scrollers after this one to chit-chat. So I'd like to talk about the movie itself. I don't know how many people here have actually either have seen the movie or watched the movie as a kid. But basically, the plot of the movie is... you play, so the protagonist is the character we're playing here. His name is Richard. He's played by Macaulay Culkin, post Home Alone. Post Home Alone. So this is, he was already famous and everything. And basically, he's like a fearful boy, right? So he, Macaulay Culkin. He's a fearful boy. He always wears, like, protective gear anytime he goes anywhere. He has this crazy bike that has, like, a shield and all kinds of extra stuff, and he gets mocked about it a lot, including by his own family. And so one day he pouts and leaves home. Oh, so we finished the adventure zone, and we didn't die, so we get the so now we have lots of lives. That was the bonus level, Post Malone. Cool. So we have one more world left. It's the fantasy world, and it's by far the most difficult one. So let's talk about Richard some more. So he throws a So this is definitely a movie for kids. I don't think there's a whole lot there for adults. I watched it as an adult and didn't really get anything out of it. I didn't have nostalgia for it, so I really didn't get anything out of it. But he basically storms off one day in the middle of a rainstorm and ends up stranded at the library. The librarian is played by Christopher Lloyd, who you guys might recognize as Doc Brown from Back to the Future. And he slips on a puddle of water underneath him from the storm and hits his head. And I submit that it's just a concussion, right? But of course, the movie wants you to think it's more than that. But basically, so the first third or so or quarter of the movie is live action. And then after Richard hits his head, the rest of the movie until the very end is actually animated. So Macaulay Culkin continues to voice Richard. Christopher Lloyd, instead of being the librarian, he's the titular Pagemaster. You know, Pagemaster. I'm gonna kill him like that. So there's gonna be a lot of killing enemies on other platforms like that because sometimes they won't give you room to jump on them. So you just need to make room. So he plays the Pagemaster and he tells him how to, leave the whatever world he's in currently. He has to get the library card basically, which is what we're trying to do in the game as well. And he basically goes from world to world in these different books, trying to find the library card and get out. And along the way, he finds these book friends. On the Super Game Boy layout, you actually have your little animated book friends. But there's 3 books. There is the horror book, there is the adventure book, who's a pirate, and there is the fantasy book. It's like the fairy, basically. I'm gonna kill him as well. So now this is the bag of magic right here. So that enemy I just killed, the soldier, that is the only enemy in the entire game that does not get killed in one hit. Every other enemy in the game gets killed in one hit. I'm gonna kill him too. Gets killed in one hit. That enemy gets killed in 4 hits for whatever reason. Anyway, so the first one we meet, I think, is the adventure book. The adventure book is the pirate, and he is voiced by Sir Patrick Stewart, like Picard from Star Trek: The Next Generation. We meet the horror book. The horror book is voiced by Frank Welker, who is a really famous voice artist. He's probably most famous for he's the voice of Scooby-Doo and Fred from Scooby-Doo, but he's also the voice of Garfield from them. He's the voice of Nibbler from Futurama. He's the voice of a bunch of different Transformers. So he's extremely well-known voice artist. And then the third one we meet is the fantasy world. We're in the fantasy world currently, and the fantasy lady is voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. So there's a lot of there's a huge amount of talent in this movie for some reason that I actually don't understand. But those are basically your main characters. This guy drops eye. There's another guy that drops eye, so it's totally fine. Yeah, so the main, so basically Richard uses the help, and he does stuff, and there's not really a whole lot that really happens in the movie, but that's the I need to actually grab this boot. I'm a little shorter on books than I would like to be, but I can start going through some of the secondary characters that. Some of the secondary characters' voices in this game. So this is the hardest, for the record. This is the most difficult. This is the most difficult level in the game, and I just one-shot it. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So this is a bonus game. I don't understand how the bonus games spawn. Don't really care. It's fine. We're making decent time here. Watch the movie. It's really short. It's like 70 minutes. It doesn't. If you want to experience basically nothing, go ahead and watch the movie. Especially now that a lot of people don't have a whole lot else to do. Why not? I think I rented it on Amazon Prime for like a couple bucks. Let's see. Let's look at a bunch of other people. Watch it at 1.75x speed. Yes, exactly. So, let's look at a bunch of other people who voiced. Oh yeah, and also now the moving platforms start to fall, and you have to just know that. Let's see, who else is in this movie? In the horror section, unbelievable. In the horror section, we're never gonna get to see I. I'm very sad about that. In the horror section, there is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character that we see. This is the guy. Oh my god, I'm not gonna make this jump. Oh my god, I made the jump. This is gonna be a little sketchy, but I think we can do it. So the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you actually saw him as an enemy in the game. The Jekyll and Hyde character is voiced by Leonard Nimoy. Also, that one character that's the only enemy that drops anything in this whole level. It was voiced by Leonard Nimoy. There was let's see here. I might die here. Oh, he's gonna play nice. Okay, let's see. Jim Cummings plays plays Long John Silver. Jim Cummings is probably most famous as the voice of Winnie the Pooh, but he's also the voice of both Cat and Dog in Cat Dog. And he's also the voice of a bunch of other stuff. Alright, so we actually finished that level somehow. He's also the voice of a bunch of the Animaniacs and that kind of stuff. Another pirate is voiced by Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman is one of my favorite comedic actors of all time. He was obviously in SNL, but he was also on one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. It's called News Radio, and I highly recommend it. If anybody wants a new show to watch, News Radio ran from like 92 to 96 until Phil Hartman's death, it's about a news radio station. It's about a radio station and like the crazy personalities and all that, and Andy Dick's in it, and Maura Tierney's in it, and all kinds of fun things. So I'm gonna spawn this platform so if you have a power-up, you can spawn this platform early, so you don't have to do the rest of the level. So we're basically right at the end here. Alright. And thank you guys for dealing with me. I appreciate it. Let's see if I get the bonus level. I should get the bonus level, actually, because... So this is the end of the game. I just have to die in the bonus level. I don't know why Game Boy games want you to have bonuses after the game's over. Like, 1-ups don't help me. The game's over. I finished it. Let's get off the screen here. There we go. And that's time. There you go. Whew! In terms of... both my games have... Yeah, so my personal best is a 2109, and world record is by Amen Anthem, who has a 1958. If you're interested in running either of the games I just showed off, reconsider. Don't do that. They're both awful. Anyway, there are a lot of other famous people that voice stuff in this movie. I'm glad I got to show off games. We've got some more interesting games coming up that are about this good. And I will see you guys later on in the marathon. Thanks for having me, y'all.